Okay, hello, welcome to another video. It's looking a bit better out there today. Where are we? Day 7 now. Gosh, we're getting through it, aren't we? Just a quick thing first. The random dungeon mini zines are supposed to arrive this week, so as soon as they arrive, I will absolutely get them packed up in envelopes and shipped off to everybody. Fingers crossed they arrive this week. And I'm also going to make a PDF of last year's Gobtober zine thing. Yeah, just because postage is a bit crazy everywhere at the moment. I'm going to make it as a PDF for about £3 that you can just download from the website. Alright, let's get on with it. Right, got my dice. Let's see what we get today. 28. What's 28? Skeleton Parlor. Okay, let's go with that. Cool. Okay, Skeleton Parlor. So this gives me a good kind of reason to bring the Dungeon Underground, which feel like I've been trying to do for a few days now. I just interpret parlor to be a room with skeletons in, or rather a skeleton parlor in any rate. And I love the kind of skeleton army from Jason and the Argonauts. It's one of my favourite films as a kid, and I was obsessed with that skeleton army. I just loved that Harryhausen kind of animation, so any excuse to put skeletons in a room. And you know, I didn't have to give them shields and spears, but I wanted to. So yeah, putting a torch in there for some lighting, trying to remember if I'm going underground I have to create sources of light, otherwise things could be very dark, and that's not necessarily a good thing. Again, you know, just a fun little drawing today. I think the whole thing today was literally dead on 10 minutes. Yeah, just a nice little bit of problem solving to start my day. I think I did this at about 8:30 in the morning while I was waiting for my toast to pop, because I quite like my toast to be out of the toast for a little while before I put the butter on it. But yeah, that's just me. I'm a bit weird. I don't know why I'm talking about toast right now, but yeah, quite happy with this one. Haven't filled in the rest of the graveyard at the top there. It gave me an excuse to use the big fat smelly pen just to go over it. The eagle-eyed among you will realise that I've been using a slightly smaller big fat smelly pen lately, and that's because they were out of stock of the regular big fat smelly pen I'd buy. But over the weekend I braved the storm and I went outside in the wilds, and I got a new big fat smelly pen, and it smells amazing, and it's big and it's fat, and this is my first time using it, so another great start to my day is the fumes from that pen, which I'm sure don't do you any good, but there you go. Okay, the Gobtober thing for today, number 7, Night or Knigget. Okay, let's see what I did last year. So last year, I did this little guy. I kind of like him. I'm not a big fan of the pose, but I do like that kind of weird helmet. I like it. I like bucket helmets like that. They're pretty good. So I'll probably incorporate something like that into it. All right, let's go. Let's see how it turns out. Okay, on to the night. So as always, I do my kind of fat skeleton. I wanted quite a strong, confident pose, hoisting a biggish sword, and then it was a case of making sure I whack in a lot of armour, because when I think of knights, I think lots of armour, but when I think of goblins, I don't think armour, so making sure I really make sure I get quite skinny arms and legs and really make them stand out against kind of the chunky armour he's wearing was quite important. I always feel like if you can nail that in the pencil drawing, it's great. I wanted to have his visor open, to have his face all squashed up inside. I love it when you see interviews with kind of racing car drivers and they're trying to talk but their face is all squashed up in the helmet. I always think it's a bit funny. So I like the idea that the armour is probably made for some other creature, maybe a dwarf, and the goblin is just kind of repurposed it because he's got a massive nose. It can't fit under the visor, so to give his nose some protection, he's kind of welded on this kind of cone that fits his nose in there. In hindsight, I probably should have had the visor open from the side rather than it rise up, but I still think this works. I think it's quite funny, and I'm quite pleased with the end result. I've seen quite a lot of Gobtober illustrations. Some of them are fantastic. I'm just pleased everyone's having a go. They're all wonderful in their own way. What I would say is, if you're struggling with it, is just kind of don't worry about getting it right first time or trying to do the best possible illustration ever. Spend more time on, you know how I make that kind of fat skeleton thing at the start? Spend more time on that. If you get that pose and that body language right and the rough kind of proportions, everything else kind of just pops into place, or it does for me anyway, so hopefully it will for you. So yeah, you know, Gobtober's going well so far. Can't believe we're 7 days in already. That's kind of nuts. But yeah, we're getting through it. I think the other important thing to talk about this Goblin Knight is how all of his gear is worn. So I've made sure it's full of dents. Even the handle of his sword is crooked. And when I do his sword, it's got loads of nicks and chunks taken out of it. And it's probably rusty. So if this was colour, there would be a lot of rust on this armour. And then just a case of just making sure to remember to kind of scuff everything up as I go. So yeah, he worked really well actually. I think this is an improvement over last year's. I did think about putting the horns in, but I think there's a few others in the prompt list that will lend themselves to those more kind of barbarian Viking-like horned helmets later on. So it's good to keep them all quite diverse and interesting. If you like any of these drawings, you can head over to oddartworks.com. They are all for sale, so I stick them up every day once I've done them. So this one should be up by now. If not, it'll be up tomorrow. Or if you really want to buy it, just give me a shout. And yeah, head over to Odd Artworks anyway, just to pick up some prompts, maybe a map. Yeah, if you've got any questions, stick them on my Instagram, where I share the stills of these images every day, or comment down in the comments. I try and answer as many of them as possible if you've got a burning question about how I do something. Anyway, that's about it for today, so just signing it now. Big thank you for watching it, like and subscribe, and a big thank you to my patrons who should be here right now. Alright folks, I'll see you again tomorrow. Take it easy now. Bye.